What's up, guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel once again. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about market structure. Okay, now when it comes to the concept of market structure, there are some secrets that are hidden from the masses, right? However, I'm going to be showing you something peculiar about market structure. That is, if only you're going to stick to the end of this video. And to some of you, this is going to be a game changer, right? So real quick, before we step onto the chat, if you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button, turn on post notifications so that you don't miss out on other future important videos like this one. Okay, so real quick, let's step onto the chat and let me show you what I've got for today. Okay, welcome back to the chat, guys. So I'm going to be using this simple drawing to explain whatever I'll be talking about today. And then after that, I'm going to show you real life examples on the chat. Okay, so just have patience. Okay, good. So there are times that you are going to come onto the chat like this, let's say on the H4 time frame, and you're going to see price action very clear, visible, big enough, okay, convincing enough. Okay, so you're going to have people marking this high to this low as their H4, this high to this low, H4, this high to this low, H4, right? And they see this high taking out. They go like, oh, H4 has broken structure to the upside, okay? And probably another block will be left in here. Price comes in here, they're looking for it to buy. What happens? They get a cool reaction, they get taken out. Smart money traders, okay, they get taken out. After they get taken out, okay, they're like, I'm waiting for another opportunity. Let's say for price to come in here so that they can sell. What happens? Price smashes through that point again. Now it leaves them confused. Okay, after this push to the upside, they're like, okay, now we've broken structure to the upside. I'm waiting for price to come into this other block. You can see price never retraces into the other block. What does price do? Price rather makes another push to the upside. Then they are looking at this zone to take what? A buy. What happens? Price comes, it blows through, and then now they are convinced that price has now come to this other block. Then they can look for buys because this break of structure left something like maybe imbalances and all those stuffs that they are looking for, liquidity and all those stuff. And what happens? Price taps into the other block, gives them a little reaction, takes them out again. Okay, then it leaves you with more and more frustration. What happens again? We break structure to the upside, price leaves another block, you're expecting price to come into the other block, right? And lo and behold, price begin trickling down all the way, taps into your other block, you are happy, you take your entry, it gives you a little reaction, and then it takes you out again. Now, this happens a lot of times. It happens a lot of times, especially to smart money traders. Now, the reason why this is happening is because they do not understand that market structure is fractally built. That is the truth behind it. And in as much as I have said it as simple as that, trust me, there is more to this. Okay. However, like I said, I'll be showing you whatever this entails. Now, in as much as you have come onto the 4-hour time frame and you have seen the H4 making lower highs and lower lows, trust me, these lower highs and lower lows that you are seeing are not true H4 legs. Okay, you will be surprised to know that a true H4 swing legs is from this high to this low, this high to this low, this high to this low, this high to this low. Okay, now one thing that you also need to understand is that every time frame will be built by other time frames, and that is what I found out over the years. Okay, every time frame will be built by other time frames. So let me show you a typical example of whatever I've shown you here on the chart, something similar. Okay, so look at this chart clearly. As you can see, we are on the H4 time frame. All right, how many people are going to mark this high to this low as H4, this high to this low, this high to this low, maybe this high to this low, also as H4, right? Or even if you look within this area, you can see very clear, visible. You're going to have people marking from this high to this low, this high, like that, all as H4. But the truth is, these swing legs that you are seeing, they are not H4 structural leg. Okay, so the normal person who doesn't understand what is going on is marking this high to this low, this high to this low, this high to this low, this high to this low as H4. I am marking from this high to this low, this high to this low as my H4 swing structural legs. Okay, It's just because I understand whatever is happening. And when price takes this out, I know that we've broken structure to the upside. Okay. Like I said, it is just because market structure is built up. Okay, it is always built up, so always have that in your mind. If you take, for example, I didn't want to go into so much details because I cover this in details in my private sessions. Okay, but then just to give you a typical example, after years and years of study, I found out that, like I said, every time frame swing point will be built by other time frames. So for instance, if I take the H4 structural leg, or if I take an H4 swing leg, okay, it's going to be built by either H1, 30 minutes, or M15. Either of these three time frames. Now, because I am mostly with EU, right, I told you guys that you need to focus on just one currency pair. Okay, you need to focus on just one currency pair, learn the ins and outs of the currency pair, right? Then you can move on with it. So after years and years of sticking with EU, I found out that when we take an H4 structural leg, that H4 structural leg will be most of the times built by M15. That is why you see me most of the times on M15 looking for my trades. Okay, it's just because it gives me something solid to look at. So for instance, if I take, let's say, this high to this low, or let's say this high to this low, let's look at how price built up this market structure. Okay, so real quick, I'm going to step onto M15 and let's see what price did. Okay, so now let's start from the top. Okay, let's start from the top right in here. Okay, now in here, I personally understand. Okay, I understand this, that this is my M15 break or structure. And so I have from this high to this low as my M15 swing leg. From there, I have this high all the way to this low as another M15 leg. I have this high to this low also as another M15 leg, right? Then M15, we broke structure to the upside, which I call the change of intent, right? After that, we retrace into certain levels, we break structure to the upside once again. Then we come to break structure to the downside, which is also another change of intent. This time around, a bearish change of intent, telling me that price wants to what? Continue dipping to the downside. Okay, after that, my next M15 swing leg starts from this high all the way to where? This low. Okay, now in as much as you see me marking these things like so easily like that, trust me, it doesn't come on a silver platter. Okay, this another advice that I'll give to you guys. Look, if you really want to understand this stuff, spend a lot of time on the chart. Okay, it is not going to come easy. I'm able to mark them as easy as it is because I am always stuck with the chart. I have been doing this for years and years and years, so I don't struggle to see them. Okay, so let me continue. From this high to this low will be another M15. So from this high to this low will also be another M15, right? And then we had price making a little retracement, a push. So from this high also to this low will become my next M15 structural leg. Okay, then if I continue downwards, you're gonna have from this high all the way to this low, this high to this low, this high all the way to this low, right? If we continue to the right side, we broke structure to the upside. We have from this high to this low, this high all the way to, sorry, this low all the way to this high. Okay, all these that I'm marking are M15 structural legs. Okay, then I move from this low to this high, this low to this high. Then I came to have a change of intent right in here. So I have from this high to this low, this high also all the way to this low right in here. Okay, then I have from this high all the way to this low, this high to this low. Okay, then we continue to break structure to the downside, which is from this high to this low, this wick all the way to this low. We broke structure to the upside like a change of intent, right? After this change of intent, we're expecting price to do what? To react of this level of what? Demand. But if you've watched my previous video on the best Asian session liquidity, you should know why this low was taken out. Okay, so we broke structure to the downside once again. And what happened? Price came to react from some level of supply. We tanked to the downside, right? And then now we break to the upside. So we have a change of intent, a bullish change of intent. Okay, now once I am able to understand this, you can see I am able to easily mark these structural points within the H4 leg, and it helps me to stay consistent. It helps me to get a trade that I'm looking for. Okay, if you don't understand whatever is happening in here, you might start marking wrong stuff. Okay, for instance, let me show you one typical example. Look at this price action. Look at this price action clearly. On in fact, it was a whole week, right? You realize that this is M15 and price action look very, very visible. We had price making higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows. We made a push, we broke to the downside. You might think we are bearish on M15, you want to take a sell, price smashes you. We get to certain levels and then we drop. It is not magic. It is not a coincidence. It is just because from this high to this low is one M15 structural leg. Okay, however, these were built by other time frames, other lower time frames. So always make sure that you are able to spot these key levels. Okay, that is what that is the advice that I give to people who contact me about market structure and all those stuff. So sometimes from the beginning you'll not be able to trade these internal structures properly. The most important thing is to be able to identify your key levels. Okay, always. That is the best way to start. Identify your key levels, mark them, and always make sure that before you call a break or structure, price has taken out a particular key level. What do I mean by that? So, for instance, let me show you this. For instance, if we have price doing this, higher highs, and then we do all of this nonsense in here, and we break like this, we continue to do something like this. Okay, we break like that. Let's say we break to the downside this time around. Now, whatever is happening in here is not your business. Okay, when I say it is not your business, I'm not saying you can't trade it. If you know or if you understand whatever is happening in there, you can trade it. Okay, but from the start, your focus should be on the low which created the high, the low which created the high. In the case of an uptrend, right, if it is a downtrend, you should look for the high which created the low. And all what you're looking for is that price should take any of these levels out before you can call a break or structure. Now, when price takes out any of these levels, where the whole leg began from. So, for instance, we have all these crazy price action moving in here, right? And then we have price moving all the way up to take out this key structural level. So, all the way from this low to this high is going to be your what? Your new structural point. And all you're going to do is that if you know how to look for trades from the top in here, you can do that. As for me, I do it all the time. Okay, I do it with my clients all the time. Once we are out of these zones, we know what we are looking for in these areas to take trades back down into certain levels, right? Then we can look for another buy to the upside. Okay, so this is a very simple advice I'm going to give you. If you are struggling with internal structure, focus on external structures, the key levels. Okay, because it's the key levels that's going to help you define true structural levels. So the key takeaway points from what I'm putting out here is that anytime you step onto the market to mark your structural point, have it at the back of your mind that every swing structural level or every swing leg of a particular time frame will be built by other time frames. Okay, and that is what I set an example that on EU, when you take an H4 leg like this, you're going to have it being built by either M15 or H1. The moment you understand this, when you see a break or structure right in here, you know that it is what? M15 that has broken structure, not H4. No matter how visible you're going to see this on H4, no matter how visible you're going to see this legs on H4, just know from today's video that if price breaks like this, we have not broken H4 structure. No, we've not broken H4 structure. It's just internal structure or M15 structures that has been broken. Okay, so another thing that you should also know is that, like I said, if you don't want any trouble, avoid trading the internal structures, especially when it comes to, let's say, M15 time frames. Avoid trading those internal structures on the M15 key levels or the M15 swing legs. Focus on the key levels from the high to the low. Okay, and just look at how price will break. If price breaks it, you can look for certain trades to the direction that you are looking at. If price comes into a level of let's say supply in this case, you can also look for certain trades all the way to the downside. And like I said from the beginning of this video, this is not going to be easy. No, you need to show up every single time. In fact, I want to try as much as possible and make this like a series to help you guys. Okay, so I'm just hoping that nothing will cross my path, and I'll be dropping this video. I'll make a series for you guys to really get good knowledge from all these simple concepts. Okay, so yeah, if you found value in this video, give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment in the comment section, and also do well to share this video. Okay, so yeah, see you in another insightful video.